Om Krim Kali, Om Jijima, Vama Kali, Om Bhakta, Om Shakti Ma, Hail Mary, full of grace. All is one, the one being, the one light. I am that. Om.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Namaste.
Namaste. This is Mr. Tim Rustov. He is even called as Kamananda. He is a resident of Bali right now. He is living there currently. And you can follow him on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'll post the links to that in the description box below. Please check out. He is working towards raising the consciousness of people by making them connect with a higher divine being. So he is into Kālī sadhana, and his aim is to spread the understanding about receiving the grace of Kālī and how Kālī can help you to progress spiritually. So if you have any such necessity, or if you feel the need to connect with a higher being, especially goddess Kālī, you can connect to Mr. Tim Rustov, or he is even called as Kamananda. Welcome to the program, sir. So,
thank you. That's a beautiful description.
This is not the first time you're
Lovely
there
to
on the
see you
channel.
again.
Many of the viewers are already familiar with your talks. So this being the month of Ashada. Ashada generally comes in the month of July, August. And this full moon is called Gurupurnima, Ashada Purnami. And the Guru is seen as the only way that a person can achieve the connection with the one or with the divine. The Guru is a very powerful connector to this divine source. So today we're going to discuss the importance of Guru. What are the different types of Gurus that are there? How do you choose your Guru? What are the qualities you need to see in a Guru? And how does the Guru actually help you in achieving liberation from the cycles of life and death? So will you please throw some light on your experiences related to different types of gurus?
Om. Om Shakti. Om Kali. Well, yes, I can shed some light on my experience, and hopefully my experiences and accumulated wisdom from those experiences can be of use to other people in their journey. So I just want to start off by saying that these are my experiences, they're my insights, my downloads, my dreams, my visions, everything, and they may not be applicable to anyone else in the world. They were applicable to me. And if someone can be inspired by that or connect with that or feels aligned with that, awesome. So my experience with Kālī may not be anyone else's experience in this world that we know of Kālī, either in history or whatever. It's a personal relationship with the Ishta, the god of choice, goddess of choice, and that each personal relationship is going to have its own juice, its own rasa. And so what's true for someone else's experience with Kālī may not be true for this other person's experience with Kālī. And correct me if I'm wrong about these things about Indian culture, but there's the village Kālī, the forest Kālī, the jungle Kālī, the Kālī at the cremation ground. So even in ancient India and current India, there are a lot of different versions of Kālī. There's the Dakshina Kālī, there's the cremation ground Kālī, and they all are Kālī, Mahakali, but they have different aspects. It's still Kālī, and it's still the one, even beyond the name Kālī. So my experience with Kālī is that she's the primordial guru. So my insight, based on my experiences, is that there was always a primordial guru. So guru, first of all, the name guru, as far as I understand Sanskrit, means heavy. So why heavy? So it's a centrifugal force. It's a power. It pulls you in. It's not just, a guru is not a pandit. It's not a scholar. A guru has some ballast, some gravitational pull, some power. So without that, it's not a guru. It's in the very name. So you don't have a tennis guru. if someone can transmit like high level tennis through meditation, they're probably a tennis guru. But if they're a tennis teacher, they're not a guru.
They're not.
That's the difference. Yeah, they're not a guru. So a guru has power, and the power to transmit, the power to pull you into their field and to share vibrationally and experientially their experiences with you. That's what a guru is they're being in their field is a transmission, and that transmission is like a tractor beam or a centrifugal force. So that's what distinguishes any guru. So if you go to see a guru, someone interests you, and there's no power there, there's no force, there's nothing pulling you that's beyond the logical mind. It has this rasa that maybe no one else understands, but you understand. That's your first sign that it's a legitimate guru, is it has this kind of power or centrifugal force towards you. And whatever guru there was is, let's say, an agent of the divine or a vehicle of the divine. In goddess terminology in Shakta world is like the vehicle of the divine. So they even say like the goddess rides the vehicle. So this is all Shakta, the people who worship Shakti as their Ishta. This is in that flow. So the primordial guru is Shakti, the goddess, not just power Shakti, not just Kundalini Shakti. Although that's a goddess too, it's the goddess, both immanent and non-immanent, transcendent, both. So the Shakti is the Guru Shakti. That's the guru. Now, the human guru or the astral guru or whatever other kind of guru we're talking about is the vehicle of Shakti. So the astral guru, the human guru, they're transmitting, if you want to use that word, we call it Shaktipath, the descent of grace. So that's the transmitting power that the guru is the vehicle of grace. Shakti's vehicle of grace is the guru. That guru can be embodied or not embodied, but they've got that power, the Shakti power, Shaktipath. So it's not just me, but like if you look back in Kashmir Shaivism, Avinavagupta is one of the most famous gurus of that lineage. And he talks about in his writings that the number one aspect of the guru is the power of Shaktipath. That's number one. Everything else, lineage, whatever, what kind of, how old they are, their life experience, male or female, all of it doesn't matter. What matters most is the power of Shaktipath, the power of grace, or how the goddess is transmitting through them, and what kind of strength. So the guru is the goddess, and the vehicle is the goddess's vehicle, and the power is Shaktipath. So from my experience and my research, that's guru. The guru function is to be the vehicle of Shakti, and you feel it, and it transforms you. Now, why is it so valuable? Why did Avinavagupta, if I haven't butchered that name, and others say that the most important function of the guru is Shaktipath? Because talk is cheap, yeah? I think we've all learned that in life. So it's not necessarily that someone talks a good game. In fact, there have been many silent masters or Avanhutas, people who just threw a rock at you and made strange noises. So it's, you know, for someone who's like literally a man of the jungle, who's a wild man or woman, and who doesn't speak or might be very, very odd by conventional standards, even kind of like dangerous, if they've got the power of Shaktipath, that's a guru. So they've read no scriptures. They're a jungle guy, jungle gal. So, and they've got the power. So that shows you they're a guru. Now, they may not be your guru, but they may not be, you know, suitable for you in some way. But if they've got the power, if they're a vehicle of Shakti, they're a guru, they're a chosen vehicle, right? So now it's the strength. That's the most important thing, not the strength of their words, not the strength of their lineage. I know it's kind of controversial to say. So lineage, it's just as a side note, it's one way we can kind of tell or judge or discern if someone's legitimate and not a charlatan. So we use it as like a shorthand, the lineage.
Yes.
And there is some lineage Shakti, the power of transmission through a lineage. But it's not dispositive. Just because someone has a lineage and a really good one doesn't make them a good guru either. So one can't rely on lineage alone. In fact, I think it was Papaji who said, where there is lineage, there is corruption. And if you've ever been inside an ashram or been a part of a lineage or seen it work up front, you'll know what I'm talking about. So the next in lineage may not be the one who has the strongest Shaktipat. It might be the politically correct one to have chosen.
Yes.
Or the guru's favorite, or whatever ashram politics are going on, you have no idea. So just someone is the lineage holder. It's not proof positive that they're a guru. So you could be a lineage holder and have no Shaktipat.
That's true. Generally, when somebody has a Kundalini awakening, a total Kundalini awakening, and the process is complete, they start a lineage. They don't need to. Their guru is the inner Shiva. So the lineage starts from them. So I just wanted to add this to what you were saying. Please go on.
Yes, yeah, completely. Thank you. So like the Nath yogis is a great example because the first
yogi,
primordial, the first primordial, I just got chills everywhere. The first primordial guru was Shiva. So Shiva transmitted to the Nath yogis their yoga.
Yes.
And so it's like that. Like, you know, if you look at there are Aghoris. So the Aghoris, there are Shiva Aghoris and there are Kālī Aghoris, much smaller segment. But the first guru was Shiva or Kālī. So yes, just because someone has no lineage, if they have a direct connection with the god or goddess and they're transmitting that grace, Shaktipat, and they have that vidya, that knowledge of that god or goddess or god and goddesses, then they are a guru. It's the strength of the Shaktipat and their connection to the divine that's the most important thing. And personally, my personal feeling is in this period of mass awakening, which I think if you look at it, we must be in. I mean, so many people having Kundalini awakenings, it was never happening like this that we know about. So in a period of mass awakening, there are not going to be physical gurus for everyone. It's just not enough numbers. So what's going to fill in because it's happening, right? So direct connection to the divine, or people who are, you know, fresh out of the gate, so to speak, who have a direct connection with the divine and are able to transmit and support that.
Guru is not just the physical body, it is an energy. So it can be an astral guru, like how you said, or it could be somebody who has made a connection with the divine because they can channel the divine's grace onto that person. Very well said here. So what makes a normal person transform into a guru? How does he get that potential to transmit the divine's grace? What takes him to that level?
There's no book about that. So it's grace. It's a pure grace function. So someone might be, you know, study scriptures day and night, devote their whole life to realization, visit all the sacred sites on yantras, know everything about everything there is to know about Indian culture and Mahabharata and Ramayana and everything. But that doesn't mean that grace has to come and flow through them, because grace decides independently who is a vehicle for grace, and you can't earn it. It's a blessing. So that's something that's like linear mind has trouble with. So it's there could be someone apparently completely undeserving, like even someone who, like a crazy wisdom type teacher, like a rogue, you know, like from the Gori books by Svoboda, You know, he was a bit of a rogue, like betting on horse races. You know, like
Yes.
he's not wearing white at the temple. You know, he was a modern Agori. So it may not be what you think. It
True.
has to be, you know, someone pure or someone good or any of it. No, grace has its own blessing and it
Mm.
can't be earned.
Mm.
It's just bestowed. Now, that said, of course, like there is some relationship to
Mm.
why grace has descended and acts as this person acts as a vehicle for grace. So once you start spending time with them, like you can kind of see, like, yeah, I see what Shakti is doing here. You know, they've got something. Yeah, they've got something besides the power that's blessed on them. It's like I can intuit why they were chosen as a vehicle for grace, but it may not be obvious to anyone.
Okay. Okay.
And
And
that grace, as you said, I want to, you know, underline, it doesn't have to be in human form. So that those gurus who were in the body, who are no longer in the body, can also be vehicles for grace during meditation or, you know, direct transmission through them. Again, it's the strength of Shaktipath. Like if it's Andromedan and it's coming through for you, but there's no like Kundalini with it. It's just like an experience with the Andromedan. It's not Shaktipath. But let's say it's Padmasambhava, Buddhist tradition, coming through for you, and you feel the power and the grace and the glory. That's Shakti. So it can come in the dream form, it can come in meditation. So it will have like a character, like Muktananda comes to a lot of people in different forms. Many people, Guru Muktananda, Swami Muktananda from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, who spread Shaktipat all around the world. Many people called Baba, many people just looked at Baba's photograph. There's a famous photograph of him and received Shaktipat from that photograph still to this day. It's incredible, the photograph.
Yes.
So you can receive a Shaktipat from the photograph and like you could say Baba's grace, but I always say it's like Shakti's grace because I don't want to link it too much to the form of the human because it gets very dicey. Because if you start thinking it's human's grace, then that's where the ego can have some wiggle room to do its thing. But if it's always Shakti's grace, then we're in safer playing ground.
I have a question now. When we look at the pictures of many gurus, they're all smiling and all they look very peaceful, you know, perfect pose for, you know, a happy soul. But do all gurus have they transcended their darker side, or is their darker side still within them? Did they understand to integrate their darker side so that it does not affect them at a conscious level? So what do they do with the darker side?
That's a great question, and it's kind of like big question, right? Because we've heard so many times that the guru had a dark side that was hidden.
Exactly.
And now it's exposed one way or another. And the stories are, you know, so many that they, some of them have got to be true, right? You know, the fallen guru or the guru who was wearing the mask. So it's a big paradox because those gurus, we can say, like, from my perspective, as long as you're not enlightened, there's going to be that danger. You have an ego by definition. So if you have an ego, you're going to have a darker side. That's part of the game. So I have no problem with that. What I have a problem with is inauthenticity. So if someone says, I am not enlightened, I have a shadow, I have unexplored places, I'm on the journey just like you, but for whatever reason, grace is channeling through me.
Yes.
And it has like a filter from me, goes through me. It's very accurate. So buyer beware. You choose. Do you feel aligned? You know, not every just because there's Shaktipat going on doesn't mean everything I say is true.
True.
And everything I do is, you know, like grace itself in action. Well, that would be Sahaja Samadhi. When you're in Sahaja Samadhi, then everything you do is grace in action. That's a very rare state. Very, very hard to, I don't know if I've met anyone in that state, not to my knowledge. So nevertheless, one shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So one can avail themselves of the guru who is not enlightened. So the best would be an enlightened guru who's a strong Shaktipat, direct from Shiva Shakti, and you feel it, and you know there's no mind. It's been snuffed out, and it's super powerful. And an example would be like Ananda Mayama or Sri Ramakrishna. In my view, those are great examples of enlightened masters who had strong Shaktipat. And you can find one of those today. That would be the best. And they can also come to you in astral form. So that would also be awesome. But there are lots of other gurus out there. Again, they have the blessing of Shaktipat. They can convey this blessing. And it's the strength of that Shaktipat that should be the most important thing. The next thing is, are they authentic? So any inauthenticity, any lying, any lack of transparency, any like double standards. Now for the Avanhuta, that can happen. So this person's a wild person. Okay, they're a wild person. I can understand. But this person appears to be rational, sane, logical, loving, kind, considerate, everything you would want. And something is a little off. They're not acknowledging that they're actually conveying that they're enlightened when they're not. That's a big, big problem. So I don't know, maybe it's particular to India. I could be wrong. But I think that people often mistake the power for enlightenment. So if they have that strong Shakti, they must be enlightened. Or if they're having bhava, the mood of the goddess or the god, if they're dancing like Krishna, they must be enlightened. No. If they have strong Shaktipat, they must be enlightened. No, it's not true. So one has to use intuition and discernment and experience. And if you run into one of these characters who has a strong Shaktipat and conveys enlightenment, but is not enlightened, you can still get something from it, right? I wouldn't run away either. It's just important to know what you're dealing with and then accept it. Either you can accept it or not. Like, I need transparency from my guru. If my guru is not transparent, I can't work with them. Or I need complete honesty. So those are your standards. And, you know, they're your standards. You could say the Shaktipat's so good, I don't care that he's not honest or transparent. But, you know, that's a decision you'll have to make. And in my experience, any inauthenticity, lying, lack of transparency, still caught up in projections and blame and darker, potentially very dark stuff is super red flag. And I don't want anything to do with it personally. It's just, I don't want to be around it. That's me. And if I get any hint of it, I almost physically can't be around it. Sometimes I tried to like sit in groups where I knew it wasn't like 100% kosher. but you know, the Shakti was so good and I'm getting a lot out of it for sure. But the Shakti itself wouldn't let me stay. Like, even if I tried to say like, yeah, there's some politics going on and I'm not so sure about all that, but boy, I'm having a great transformation. I literally, once I saw the distortions, I couldn't stay physically. Like, I would start to get physical discomfort if I would try to force myself, because I was such a Shakti, you know, eager for the Shakti. So, but that's me. Another person could go through the same experiences and be like, it's okay. I'm still having the transformative power, and that's the most important thing for me. So the integration of the shadow, I'd say that's for everyone to discern, to intuit, and to make a judgment about do they want to be around that or not, or how bad the shadow is. Like, there's a shadow, but it's playful. I don't know.
I've seen few gurus who have their darker side, who they don't want to, maybe they don't understand that they have a darker side, or maybe they're not doing the necessary inner work, but they still had the power to transmit. That was what I saw. But the power of transmission does not mean that that person is enlightened. And the power of transmission has a potential to generate some kind of spiritual awakening in the body, but it will not be to that level when an enlightened master does it. The very presence of an enlightened master who has the full force of this Shakti running through the body, as you said, one who has transcended the constraints of the mind, that is at a different level altogether. And it is very
I
rare.
totally agree.
Yeah, it is very rare to find
Yeah.
a person like that.
So the next best would be your own transmission from Shiva Shakti. So let's say the enlightened guru with the full force, etc., in the human body would be ideal. But since they're hard to find, next best, actually, I think tied, if you want to look that way, is your direct connection with the deity. So again, you know, it's the deity is obviously enlightened, right? So now you're dealing with your own psyche, your own intuition, your own distortions. So instead of dealing with the exterior guru's distortions, you're dealing with your own interior distortions. So it's the same process almost. You know, but let's say the strength of the Shakti of the god goddess is, in my view, my experience, going to be much stronger than the human guru with distortions. So I'm dealing with my own distortions, but you know, it's everything is within, right? So navigating that, you know, your own projections, your own beliefs, your own fears, your own desires, as you're receiving continual Shaktipat from the god goddess. So that's my path. That's the path that I've been on. Is all this? Yeah, it's interior. So you know, boy, that was a dead end for a couple of weeks. Why was I thinking that? Or you know, oh, I used to believe this, but now I see. You know, so it's really like you don't have in these circumstances. Like scriptures are, yeah, they're helpful to know, but on another side, you know, you can throw out the tantras and everything. Like it doesn't matter. What matters is your own experience with the god goddess, and then how you're integrating, if you want to use that word, or letting that Shaktipat work within you, and your connection with that Shaktipat and how it's guiding you. So the god goddess as the guru, let's say, you know, in the Indian temple, there's the Murti, the idol for Westerners, that's been sanctified and blessed, and you know, it is the god goddess, and it's taken up residence in the temple, the mandir. So when you praying to Krishna in pranam in the temple, that's the, again, like a exterior version, material version. But when Krishna takes up residence in your third eye, that's the interior vision. So you're in a constant pranam to Krishna inside, and you're learning the knowledge of Krishna Vidya, as an interior yoga. So to me, that's really good, and I recommend it highly. And that's what Sri Kālī and I have going on, if I can put it that way. So Kālī has taken up residence in my field, and she's teaching me through everything that comes through my life as her Vidya. So every experience I have, every emotion I feel, every thought I have, you know, she sees everything, right? It's the ultimate. So it's my relationship with that, and then she's constantly teaching me about her nature, and so I am releasing everything that is not her nature, and I am merging with her. So that's this process.
My next question to you is, every person is different. We all have different personalities. So should we choose a deity based on a personality if we are more sattvic in nature? In the sense, when I say sattvic, for the viewer's benefit, sattvic is where you are more in peace, in joy. You are the more kinder version. Then you're called the sattvic person. If you're more rajasic, that is, you're very passionate about doing things, you're very active, and you know you want to keep on exploring life, you can call that as a rajasic nature. And tamasic nature is more towards indolence, or kind of an inactivity, or it is a kind of a nature where uh, the person is in a very low vibrational state. So generally, these are the three states. So not every person is sattvic. People come from different backgrounds. They have different nature. Some can have a total sattvic nature, which is very rare. Generally, it is a combination of sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic, or variations are there in it. So, what type of a person should choose what type of a deity?
Great question. So I would want to say on the first note is that in my experience, the deity chooses you. So
Okay.
I'm not going to get into the free will debate, but I'll just say that the most powerful Ishta is the one that chooses you. So again, that's what happened to me in my journey. I was cool with all the gods and goddesses. I had no favorites really. I was just open to the experience, whatever wants to come through, and it was just Kālī who chose me. I had no say in the matter. That's the way it happened. And would I have chosen Kālī with my personality complex? I'm not so sure. So the best Ishta I would say to someone who's looking for an Ishta, it's not so much like what you choose. Just be open to the sankalpa, the intention, the divine intention of that I'm welcoming an Ishta. I have a desire for the Ishta. And now I'm open in the field looking for synchronicities, signs, downloads, dreams for the Ishta to make contact with me. So and then trusting that the Ishta that arrives is the right one, right? So like, wait a minute, I didn't choose this one. I wanted that one. Like, no, this is the way it is. And you may not see like why it has to be this way. With Kālī, I might not have seen like why Kālī. I'm yeah, she's great, but wow, she's a lot to handle. Yeah, and now after all these years, like of course I can see exactly why she became the Ishta beside Grace, of course. But like my logical mind can very well see why there's an alignment there. So that's number one, is just like the intention and waiting for the response from the field, from the universe, from Grace to do that. Now, I know in India it's different because you have the family deity, the personal deity.
Yes.
You have many deities and relationships. So it may not be so clean in that you're already biased in some way or another. So then I would say, go where the joy is. Like whatever deity fills you with joy. And some people might be put off by the cremation gown Kālī, and other people might find that super alluring. Some people might like Radha and others Krishna. And so I would go where let the heart and let your joy and your intuition be your guide. But if another Ishta arrives in a more powerful format, like in a dream or something like that, initiation in a dream, well then, the first Ishta that you chose with your joy is the same Ishta that's choosing you in the dream. It's all the same. It's just that for whatever reason, this form, this frequency, this vibration is going to serve you better in your journey. So just be open to that if that happens, and still welcome it.
So for the viewers' benefit, Ishtadaiva simply means the deity that is benevolent with you. That is the deity that is ready to make a connection with you, and the deity that is ready to shower their grace upon you. That is called the Ishtadevata. In India, we have the family deity. We have the Ishtadevata. And then Devata means a deity. And then we have a Kul Devata, that is the Devata of that lineage, that is there, the family lineage, or it could be caste-based Devata also, or there'll be a village level deity also. Apart from that, we have Kshetrapalakas, that is the guardian of the territories. So many of these deities are involved in transforming the person's spiritual container so that that person can evolve quickly. Now, for somebody who's starting the spiritual journey, they have no guru. The common question I get from people is that we do not have a guru. So how do we start about searching for a guru? In case, I cannot still connect with some higher power. I'm not sure what higher power has chosen me. I have not reached that level. The the physical presence of a guru in my life. So how do I go about it? What will lead me to that guru? How do I recognize the guru? What qualities do I need to look for in that guru? And what should I expect from the guru?
So my experience when I was looking for an external guru, now I can see back then I had my biases. So I love a good intellectual talk. I love it. So my one of my first teachers gave an amazing talk. When I was in school, I always sat in the back row, but in this person's talks, I always sat in the front row. But it was more my bias because I was loving the talks, and there's some Shakti in the talks too. It's not just talk, and there's wisdom and knowledge and lots of other things, but it's not a necessity that the guru is a good talker. So the number one thing is you feel alignment towards that person that you actually can't put your finger on. You know, it's like I just like them. Like, you know, when you like a boy or a girl, like you're in the dating mood, and you cannot explain even to your girlfriends or your guy friends like why you like someone. They may not like that person at all, or what do you see in that person? But you like them. You know, you like them. So the heart wants what the heart wants. So it's like that, really. It's like what your heart feels aligned with beyond any kind of like checklist. Because the checklist can be very misleading. That's the issue with the checklist. So it's more, a guru is more of a love affair. So because it's about your heart opening and you realizing yourself as love, so it's going to be a love affair, not a physical love affair. That's a whole other topic, but it's a spiritual love affair. So what does the heart want? That's really the key. And then like what the next one would be is, let's say you search, you know, you're looking at all the available avenues. What do the friends say? What does the family say? What does the social media say? What does the internet search say? What does, you know, what do you get as an intuition or a synchronicity? So in my experience with everything, the more intuitive and synchronic it is, the better. So the most important thing to follow is your own intuition and synchronicities and dreams, because it's all, we can say, like right hemisphere stuff. It's not logical, it's not linear. So you can even say that that's the guru energy or the guru frequency making contact with you. So first is the intention. I'm open for that. I desire that. That's what I want more than anything. So the most important part is your desire. The second thing is you're putting it out into the field, that desire, and you're waiting for the nonlinear feedback of who this person could be. And then once you have that nonlinear feedback, you start following it like breadcrumbs. So like Hansel and Gretel, we have a story in the West. So you follow the breadcrumbs, and that will lead you to the guru. And there's so many stories like that that people have about how they thought their guru was going to be this person, or they were on their way to see that person, and they got sidetracked, and the sidetrack was the other guru calling them. And so that's like the best way to find the guru, is that way. Now, if you really want a guru and you don't have that kind of connection, intuitive, you're not very right-brained, and you know, you're going to have to use logic and discernment, then you have to go with all the usual stuff: the friends' recommendations, family's recommendations, what you feel when you watch someone's presentation, either live or on social media. Then when you go there, what do you feel? Again, the strength of the Shaktipath. It's more like that, but that's not an invalid way to choose. It's just like less preferable, because it's more of the mind and less of the heart. So once you're there, your mind has led you to a potential guru. Then again, you should go back into the heart. And does the heart want to be here? You know, everyone here seems to love it and love him, but I'm not so sure. Or, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. I'm in. You know, so that's the heart.
There are a lot of other things that you have to look around for, that, you know, things should make more sense to you. Things should fall into place in life when you meet the right guru. Right? It's not just, your connection with this person, but what is the universe suggesting to you? That also should be taken as a criteria. Now, generally people transit from one guru to another guru because maybe their expectations change, maybe the guru's potential is limited, right? So in such a scenario, uh, will that affect the spiritual journey of the person? Is there a need to be loyal to the guru? What do you think about this whole thing where that person has to be loyal to the guru? Because in a path of where, there's a lot of tantric initiations or Shaktipath happening, the guru is the one whom you have to be totally surrendering yourself to. When you're surrendering yourself to the guru, is it a person or is it the embodiment of your inner guru?
Surrender, it's a tricky idea. So as long as we have an ego, we can't surrender. We surrender our ego, but we cannot do it because we still have an ego. So surrender is, again, grace. You cannot get to surrender with an ego, in my view. As long as you have an ego, there can't be surrender. You can be moving towards surrender or inviting surrender or desire surrender. But whether surrender can, when the ego is gone and you're in sahaja, then you're surrendered. Everything before that is something less. So surrendering to another human being, I could say we're in Kali Yuga, so you should be really careful about doing that because there are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing for whatever reasons. That's the Leela at the moment. So one should always retain their discernment and their intuition. So let's say the guru who's, transmitting the Shaktipath, who knows the vidya of that lineage, of that frequency, who you're relying on for the spiritual transmission and for the advice and sherpaing around that, one can always trust what this person is telling you, but then you have to experiment with that yourself and feel it within you. So you should always retain your discernment and intuition. Now, what if the instruction from the guru differs with your discernment and your intuition, which can happen? The more distorted your ego is, you're not even going to be able to hear what the guru is telling you.
Yes.
And I understand why it was like, just surrender and like, shut up and do what I tell you. Because who wants to deal with all this like distortion from the disciple? But you see, everyone has to come along their own way, and you do a disservice by not explaining the best you can. You could have to, maybe your guru might have to explain to you many times and you still may not get it. But there should be no just do it, in my view, in this day and age, because it just won't even work. So it has to align with your own intuition discernment. If it doesn't, okay, tell me why I'm supposed to do this. Show me some examples. Give me some scriptural examples. Show me your other disciples. Tell me why this is efficacious for me, because I'm not feeling it. And to act against your own discernment and intuition, to me, is you're setting yourself up for a big, big, big potential problem that we'd like to avoid. So it's retaining your judgment, your discernment, and your intuition, trusting the guru, building that relationship with the guru, but not blindly surrendering. And in my view, a good guru should welcome that. They should be transparent. They should welcome having the talk, because like the tantric scriptures, it's Shiva asking Shakti, right? It's no different. There's guru and disciple. It's still Shiva Shakti. In the tantras, it's always Shiva questioning Shakti, or Shakti. I guess the Shiva agamas are the one way, and the goddess texts are the other way. But it's not like Shiva says, "Don't ask me any questions." No, he welcomes Shakti's questions. So it's Shakti and Shiva in a dialogue, and every guru, in my view, worth his or her salt, should welcome that dialogue, and there should be no, my authority and my coercion and my power speak for itself, and you do what I say or hit the road. I mean, that's a real, I don't know, patriarchal, we can say, or I don't know, distorted way of doing things that might have worked in a different era. But in this one, I don't think it's a good idea.
I agree with what you said. There should always be an open dialogue between the disciple and the guru. Otherwise, the guru cannot understand the disciple or the disciple's needs, and the disciple cannot understand the depth of the guru's wisdom. So the communication need not be oral. It can even be, a kind of teaching which is very practical or through experiences. Gurus have different ways of teaching their disciples. The highest guru one can access is the inner guru. The inner guru is Shiva himself, sitting in the Guru Chakra. For a normal person, the Kundalini is sleeping in the Muladhara Chakra. The consciousness level is lifts. Whereas Guru Chakra is somewhere underneath the Sahasrara Chakra. So the distance between the Muladhara Chakra and the Guru Chakra, which is there just beneath the Sahasrara Chakra, is too much for a normal person, and that person cannot reach to that level. So connecting with an inner guru can only happen when your consciousness is rising to a level, at least to a certain extent, where now you can access the inner guru. So for a normal person, accessing the inner guru is very difficult. In such a scenario,
yes, in fact, for most normal people, it's a big distortion to think that there's an inner guru. So
I totally
you might hear
agree
people say, "I'm my own guru," and it's usually very delusional.
Yes. So people generally read books and they see that there is an inner guru or inner guide. So they are waiting for that inner guru or inner guide to show up or speak internally because of certain ideas, books and all that. The inner guru is there. There is no denial on that part. But then for us to get into a conscious connection with that guru, it'll only happen when your vibrational level is high enough. If your vibration level has reached to a level where now you are able to contact your inner guru, or your inner guru comes down to the lower chakras, I mean, he generally comes down to the upper astral chakras. They don't come down below that. So the lower causal or the upper astral. So generally, once we have come out of our limbic brain programming, I made a series on the limbic brain programming. I'll post a link to that in the description box below, so you understand what I'm talking about. This is for the audience. Fine. So until we come out of a limbic brain programming, or at least we have come out to some extent out of the limbic brain programming, we cannot access the inner guru. So in such a scenario, where the inner guru is there, but he is not accessible by a normal person, how do they go about trying to make that inner shift? Say they live in a country where there is no literature, there is nobody to guide them, they have no guru present in physical form there. Because I keep getting mails from a lot of people around the world. There is nobody here, to show us the path. In such a scenario, the only way a person can turn is within. They'll try to access the inner guru, but the inner guru is still not accessible at a conscious level. So in such a scenario, is there any other way in which they can, by raising their vibrational level, get in touch with the inner guru?
So I found myself in that space. So, and there was no physical guru, and there was no inner guru, there was no guru. So I undertook tapasya, but in modern Western parlance, a juice fast. And I pasted around my room. I just printed off, and with Scotch tape, masking tape, all around my room, I put pictures of gurus, saints, of masters who I may not have wanted to connect with, but I felt something with, or some alignment with, or some desire with. and I wasn't very picky about it. I must have had like 50 different gurus on my wall. So why did I have the desire to do that? Like, I don't really know. I don't know why I thought to do that or whatever. I mean, it was the beginning of that part of the journey, I guess. Mm-hmm. So I consciously made my room like a child's room, you know, like a collage of all the gurus. And I started my sadhana in this room. We can say like the guru sadhana, the desire, the wanting, the openness to receive, and the connections just through the photographs. You know, not fancy photographs, literally like cut and paste, downloaded from Google, all around the room. And that was the process for me. So there was no inner guru, there was no outer guru. But these yogis are fasting all the time. It's because, or doing tapasya, we could say, it's it invites grace. So by pasting the photographs all around the walls and living on liquids, on juice, I was doing my form of tapasya. And you can't say what works or what doesn't. You know, there's so many variables, but it definitely had an effect. And so that's something I would recommend to someone is, you know, read books of saints. So you can read the Mother Reveals Herself, the biography of Anandamaya Ma. It's so powerful. You know, Anandamaya Ma is more than just a particular guru who existed, who was great. She is someone who became the Divine Mother embodied, or was born that way. It doesn't really matter. For everyone around, that's who she was. I've had my own dream and astral experiences with her. So it's reading her book, the book about her, Mother Reveals Herself, was super transformative in itself, that book. So the photographs of the saints, the biographies of the saints, the stories of the saints. So the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is another one, like so powerful, so beautiful. I still read it all the time. Sri Ramakrishna's words, advice, and story speak to me on an almost daily basis. So reading the biographies of saints, having the pictures of saints surround, you know, they say the company you keep is who you become.
Exactly.
If you hang out with thieves, you'll become a thief. And if you hang out with saints, you'll become a saint. So open yourself up to the highest vibration of the saints and the biography. It's like you're surrounding yourself by the words and the photographs. You're keeping the company of saints, because in this Kali Yuga, finding actual physical saints to keep company with also very hard.
Yes.
But if one can do it through intention and vibration, that was my experience. It can be very powerful. So that's what I would suggest.
Yes, I totally agree with you, because even when the saints are not there in midst of us, they are in the other dimensions, their pictures can still give us Shaktipath. They have the power.
Yep.
When you look into the picture, the eyes of the picture of the saint, you are still capable of receiving Shaktipath transmission from that saint. So as you said, if we have a room where a dedicated room in the house where you have pictures of all these saints, where you spend your daily meditative time, and the books of various saints, I think that will really help a person to get Shaktipath from the gurus directly.
So, you know, it's one, fast for health. It's very good for your health. We're born to fast. Human beings were born to fast. All the great religious traditions have fasting a part of it. There's a good reason why. Find out. So when you're on let's say a juice fast or a water fast, then you're more aware of subtle vibrations. You're less in the material and you're more in the ethereal or the astral, just by nature of the fast. So if you have that desire, this is kind of what Sankalpa and Tapasya. So I have the desire to connect with the higher power, and I'm undertaking my action with my willpower as a dedicated tapasya. I will not be eating. I will open myself up to a higher power. And then if one can go to sacred sites while in that condition, I did that too. So I would go to temples that appealed to me, that intuitively appealed to me. And I would meditate in a fasted state in those temples with the sankalpa of I want to connect to a higher power, whatever there. So I go to some temples and, you know, there's no rasa for me. And I go to other temples and, oh boy, was there rasa? And I went to the Anandamaya Mahasamadhi site, what we call mausoleum in the West. So, boy, I was having an astral conversation with Anandamaya Ma in the Mahasamadhi site. And it was, the astral conversation was verbal from my end. And suddenly someone yelled, shh, because it was a no talking area, which I found quite funny. Oh, sorry. So going to these sites, like the Shakti of the saints at the Mahasamadhi site, if you can go on pilgrimage to these places, is super powerful. I've been to Anandamaya Ma's site. I've also been to Neem Karoli Baba's Mahasamadhi site. I've been to other saints, and they're very powerful. So if you're aligned or feeling aligned or curious about a certain saint, go in a fasted condition and meditate at their Mahasamadhi.
I totally agree. The saints, even if they're not there in bodies, they still have the power to change us. And that is why people, to this day, we still visit their shrines, we read their books, we listen to their older videos, their words, because their words can stir up something like a Shaktipath type transmission. It can have that kind of effect on us. So I totally agree with that. Thank you for your time, your effort, and on throwing light on such important things when we're talking about the aspect. So thank you for that. Namaste.
Om Shakti. Thank you so much for having me. And I really enjoy spending time with you and sharing together. Om Ma Jai Ma Vama, Bhakta Om Shakti Ma. Hail Mary, full of grace, all is love. Om.